Every organization experiences shifts, even those built on decades of stability. What once seemed unshakable can change due to a mix of internal and external factors. For ministries that operate globally, financial health is closely tied to consistent donations, outreach programs, and media presence. When these elements are disrupted, the ripple effects touch every aspect of operations. Understanding the forces behind such changes requires looking beyond headline numbers. This analysis explores how a large, influential ministry transitioned from surplus to deficit, revealing the structural pressures that can challenge even long-standing systems built on growth, faith, and reach. The foundation of a well-run system. For years, the ministry operated like a finely tuned machine. Its approach was simple but effective. Teach, reach audiences, receive support, then reinvest to reach more people. Television broadcasts brought teachings to homes worldwide, while radio programs expanded the audience further. Conferences attracted thousands, and books translated into multiple languages spread the message globally. This created a self-reinforcing cycle. Content generated attention, attention led to support, and support funded more content. Over time, this flywheel of engagement and giving gained momentum, creating financial stability and a seemingly unstoppable growth pattern that underpinned the ministry's global influence. A record of strong financial performance. By 2021, the ministry appeared more robust than ever. Annual revenue exceeded $113 million, while expenses remained below that threshold. Surplus funds grew to about $15 million, with net assets climbing past $75 million. Diverse revenue streams, including monthly partner donations, conference fees, and book sales, provided a buffer against unexpected fluctuations. Global outreach programs, disaster relief efforts, and humanitarian initiatives were funded directly by supporters' contributions. Reports suggested a large portion of donations went toward programs rather than overhead. From an outsider's perspective, this financial structure indicated long-term stability, allowing operations to expand without threatening the organization's foundational goals. Subtle signs of slowdown. Even strong systems can falter gradually before problems appear in the numbers. Initially, the ministry still maintained daily broadcasts, filled conference seats, and retained loyal supporters. But behind the scenes, pressures were mounting. Post-pandemic shifts affected donation patterns, with a temporary surge leveling off as the world reopened. Rising operational costs from production to salaries created tighter margins. While these changes did not cause an immediate crisis, they chipped away at the momentum of the donation flywheel, highlighting how even resilient systems are vulnerable to small, cumulative shifts over time. The impact of changing media landscapes. Television was long the primary engine driving donor engagement. Scheduled programs built trust and encouraged long-term support. However, cable viewership has been declining for years, and younger audiences rarely engage with traditional broadcasts. Instead, they gravitate toward short videos, podcasts, and social media. While digital platforms can reach broad audiences, converting them into committed supporters is more difficult. The ministry's traditional model, built on decades of television-driven engagement, faced an environment that required adaptation. Without evolution, audience growth slowed, and the established patterns of donations and support began to lose efficiency, putting financial pressure on an already complex system. Shifts in donor demographics. Another factor affecting sustainability is donor demographics. Many longtime supporters had been contributing faithfully for decades, but newer generations give differently. Millennials and Gen Z tend to favor short-term campaigns, online giving, or cause-specific donations rather than ongoing monthly commitments. These changes, combined with the declining engagement from traditional media audiences, meant that the core revenue streams were no longer as predictable as before. The ministry's financial model, which depended on steady, recurring donations, faced growing uncertainty. Gradually, the system that once relied on consistent growth began to feel the effects of these demographic shifts, creating a widening gap between income and operational needs, revenue and expense imbalance. Eventually, the slowdown appeared in the financial statement. Revenue decreased to just over $104 million, while expenses rose past $122 million, creating a deficit of nearly $18 million. This represented a swing of more than $30 million from the surplus recorded 2 years earlier. Net assets fell from roughly $77 million to under $60 million. Portions of daily operations were now funded by reserves, marking a shift from growth to sustainability concerns. Even a successful system can be tested when revenues fall short while fixed costs remain. The financial reports were clear. The ministry's operations continued, but underlying pressures were becoming impossible to ignore. The role of reserves in short-term stability. Part of the ministry's financial cushion came from endowment funds. Withdrawals of about $15 million reduced long-term security, even as they temporarily covered operational gaps. While this strategy allowed programs to continue uninterrupted, it highlighted a broader structural concern: the reliance on past surpluses to fund present-day needs. Large reserves can mask short-term problems, but they do not replace the need for a sustainable revenue model. As reserves shrink, leaders must confront choices about program funding, media strategy, and operational priorities, emphasizing the importance of proactive adjustments rather than reactive solutions. Structural pressures beyond numbers. The deficit was not necessarily the root problem, but a symptom of deeper forces. Large ministries resemble media companies, with high fixed costs, including studios, broadcast airtime, staff, and production teams. Small drops in income can have outsized effects when expenses remain steady. Other structural pressures include evolving donor expectations, changes in media consumption, and the aging of core supporters. Together, these factors create ongoing pressure rather than immediate collapse. Leaders are forced to evaluate strategy, adapt to new realities, and make difficult decisions to ensure the organization remains viable for the long term. Leadership and legacy. Challenges beyond financial considerations, leadership transitions can compound pressures. Ministries built around a central, influential figure face challenges when planning for succession. Maintaining credibility, vision, and donor confidence requires careful guidance. The original leader's influence often anchors the brand, and replacing that voice is complex. Strategic decisions, including program prioritization, media adaptation, and donor engagement, depend on capable leadership. Navigating both financial pressures and leadership transitions simultaneously demands foresight, adaptability, and clarity of mission. A failure to address either factor can magnify stress on the system, making timely adjustments critical for sustaining operations. Adaptation. Through strategic change, opportunities exist to navigate these challenges. Costs can be restructured, media strategies modernized, and digital platforms leveraged for new audience engagement. Campaigns can be tailored to appeal to younger donors, emphasizing social media and online giving. These adaptations require deliberate planning and investment, as the transition from traditional to digital revenue models is complex. By aligning operations with current realities, organizations can sustain their mission while reducing dependence on reserves. The key lies in balancing innovation with core values. ensuring the ministry continues its outreach without compromising financial integrity. Long-term sustainability. Focus. Financial deficits signal more than short-term gaps. They highlight the need for structural resilience. When organizations rely on legacy models and reserves, small shifts in revenue can magnify into larger pressures. Sustainability requires examining fixed costs, donor engagement strategies, and operational efficiency. Ministries must remain proactive, continuously evaluating whether systems built in the past are suited for future challenges. This approach ensures that growth remains attainable while safeguarding essential programs. By prioritizing financial health alongside mission objectives, leaders can prevent a cycle of reactive decisions that threaten long-term impact. Reading the numbers as signals. The financial reports serve as important indicators rather than predictions. They reveal trends, pressures, and emerging challenges within a system. Deficits and declining net assets should be interpreted as signals, prompting analysis of both internal operations and external environment. Understanding the root causes, aging donor bases, changing media landscapes, rising fixed costs, enables informed decision-making. Addressing these pressures proactively can stabilize the system and maintain program continuity. In other words, arithmetic is not just about money, it reflects the health and adaptability of the organization as a whole.